me chart?
Absolutely.
Good.
And then I'm going to refresh up here. We need to do that.
Oh, how do you refresh up there?
You
Where-
click on, you bring your arrow up here, click, and then hit F5. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, Broomfield is always, should come up there. That's the refresh. It's first. That's us. And it'll refresh down here, and then it'll move down from there.
I should have probably told you what a very slow learner I am.
No?
But once I get it, I got it.
See, now there's our, so now
There's
the
our
first thing
button.
you got to do is click that for me. Perfect. Now click down here on Q again. Bring this up. Okay, we're good. So we are behind the scenes. We're already streaming on Ustream. This is Laura Padgett, not only my wonderful friend, but an amazing award-winning author and dancer on Conscious Conversations. And we're getting ready to start Facebook Live. Oh. See, I got to reestablish that. I do this every week.
Okay.
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 And we are live on Facebook. So we're getting ready. We're behind the scenes, getting ready to start Conscious Conversations on October the 29th.
Yeah.
And I'm with my friend and just world-renowned and also award-winning author Laura Padgett, and dancer, award-winning dancer as well.
Yeah.
We're doing something a little bit different tonight, and we're kind of having a Conscious Conversations radio master class.
It's a tutorial.
So, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to show you this first one.
All right, here we go.
We'll jump into we got 3 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Before we're going to jump in after this show. I mean, after this song.
Who's teaching you?
Now check it out. We want you to give us your input tonight, and we want you to laugh with us and have fun with us.
Yeah.
So, what I want to do is load up what I can do. I always start with St. Max Day. That's my opener song.
Yeah.
I grabbed it and brought it over and let go.
Okay.
And so that's over in Q.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I want you to click on 2-minute break and bring it up, and 2 5 minutes and bring it up. Click and drag.
Right there.
And leave it. There you go.
And 2 5s.
Mm-hmm.
See, look at this. I can do this, folks. Look at this. Yay, my maiden voice.
Perfect. Now, so that's how it works. Now I'm going to go over here. We're going to right after that, we're going to go straight into a 10-minute segment of radio talk.
Radio talk?
Yeah, because these are mic breaks.
Okay, okay.
So we're going to go straight from the show, from the opener, into I'll thank sponsors, and we're going to get right into talking about authenticity.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is I always forget this. So music goes in. Usually music goes in straight after mic break. So I'm going to pick. Let's see. Let's pick this one.
Okay.
You can click and drag over here.
Which one? The one that's highlighted or this one?
That one. Yeah. Click, drag, drop. Perfect. Let's pick another one. Okay. So you can go over here.
And go down.
And go down. Let's see.
You tell me which one.
You pick one.
Okay. I get to pick one. Okay. I Am Set Free?
Perfect.
I like that. Because that goes right along with authenticity.
Great. So we got those two songs.
Did I put it?
No, it's perfect. No, because it just has the author. It's I Am Set Free. You're perfect.
Oh.
One more song. And make it a .0 song.
Who? Who are we doing? I don't know those guys. Okay, now I've been having a hard time. Oh, come on. This is my favorite.
Okay, we'll do it.
I put this on my...
Okay, now see what... Oh, perfect. Now get it over here and drop it.
Right here.
Perfect. Here's you're perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, and we still got 40. I'm going to show you that at another time.
Okay.
What we're going to want to do is come out of music. we come out of music with commercials.
Yes.
That's the way I do it.
Okay.
Anybody can do that. But so Karen Lynch, hi Karen, all the way from Atlanta. She used to be one of our right-hand people at Live at Jack's for years.
Hiya, Karen.
She's in Atlanta. So thank you for tuning in, Karen.
Here we go.
Love you, girl. We're getting ready to start the show. Hope you enjoy it.
Now, do we need to turn my mic up or not yet?
I'll let you know.
I don't. Okay. Excuse me, I dropped my. There we go.
And welcome to Conscious Conversations on KUHSdenver.com, broadcasting worldwide from the Mile High City of Denver, Colorado. It's Sunday night, October 29th, 2017, and I'm your host, Stephen Ray Watts. I'm so incredibly delighted to be with you last hour Sunday night and all time zones around the world. Sit back and get ready for some uplifting, thought-provoking, and inspiring conversation. As always, plenty of music and hopefully some spiritual growth over the next 2 hours. Conscious Conversations right here on KUHSdenver.com. Well, as we start the show off tonight, we had a good friend of ours tune in. Her name is Karen, and she moved from Denver to Atlanta just a few weeks ago, actually. Matter of fact, we were at a gig last night, and I was talking to the rest of Dotsera. I was saying, I sure miss Karen, miss everything about her. But one of the things she used to do was always bring up the birthdays.
Oh.
She would have all the names of the birthdays organized so that we could shout them out and sing happy birthday. And she was just great with details like that. And our people loved the fact that she would make their special days special to them as well. So nice to have her listening in to Conscious Conversations. I'd like to start this night off with prayer. I feel like when we're covered with prayer, we offer our night to the Lord. Whatever happens is His will. Our Heavenly Father, we humbly ask that you bring us together from all over the world for the next 2 hours, united as one collective heart and soul, in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
And I'm going to do one more prayer. I like this one as well. Dear God, thank you that the gospel of Jesus Christ changes lives and relationships. Thank you for removing the barriers between us and making us all members of your family. What a gift to be able to say that you're a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Well, my guest tonight is Laura Padgett, award-winning author and dancer, and she's also a host of her own show here on KUHSdenver.com called The Artist's Nook. You'll hear commercials on my show for her show each and every week, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of things tonight. We came up with a topic of authenticity, and we're gonna try to see where we can take that And we're going to get into it in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I want to shout it to the nations. That's what I believe is one of the calls of my Lord is to shout it to the nations and shout it strong. Not only the story of the gospel and the good news of Jesus Christ, but also shout it his praise. This is Psalm 150. Praise the Lord. Praise God in his sanctuary. Praise him in his mighty firmament. Praise him for his mighty acts. Praise him according to his excellent greatness. Praise him with the sound of the trumpet. Praise him with the lute and harp. Praise him with the timbrel and dance. Praise him with stringed instruments and flutes. Praise him with loud cymbals. Praise him with clashing cymbals. Let everything that has breath praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Amen. I like to shout that out to the nations. When we come back, we're going to join our special guest, Laura Padgett, and get this show started off. We're going to be doing kind of a master class here tonight. So I'm going to, I guess this could be saying I'm trying to get her to do all the work. But we'll see how that goes. So happy to have you with us tonight on Conscious Conversations. So I'm going to bring your mic up live, okay? So I'm on 2 over here, and you're on 4, and you're at the top. That's how you bring up the mics. And just bring them up to where you can hear them, okay? And I'll tell you, I always tell my guests when they're live, so they know when their mic is live, okay? Well, how would you know we got Henry Archuleta out there?
Who?
Henry Archuleta is
What's his?
he's on there.
Oh, look at him.
Hi, Henry.
Hey, Henry.
We're taking care of stuff. I think he's checking in on us. I think he wants to make sure we're not.
He should. He needs to. We need to be checked in on.
And welcome to Conscious Conversations on KUHSdenver.com. Well, it's Sunday night, October 29th, 2017, and I'm just bubbling with excitement because I've been looking forward to this night for a long time. I get to have one of my best friends, Laura Padgett. We've got a special relationship, a special friendship that is one of those. The first day I met you in studio, here, and you signed your book for me, Dolores Like the River. I knew in an instant that we were going to be friends. Mm-hmm. And that it's been such a special bond that is means so much to me. I hope you feel the same way.
I do indeed feel the same way.
I'm just going to adjust your mic.
He's adjusting me.
There we go.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at the sort of chiropractor.
I just want to make sure we can see you. Okay, and we can see you.
Okay.
And, yeah. So welcome.
Thank you, and I do feel the same way, and my husband also feels the same way. You've just been a wonderful spiritual guide and a good friend to walk alongside us, and also all the help you've given me at the radio station. You know, Uncle Henry, if you're still out there, we do send our love. And he's also been helping me understand this. There's something about computers that terrifies me. I don't know what it is.
Same here.
But every time I work it and I see it, I'm getting a little bit less frightened, I think.
Well, and the thing is it's one of those things. It's like hands-on.
Yes.
You know, you have to kind of get hands-on, and most of the time, you know, if you have the ability to take your time and to pause and to, it does work logically.
Right.
And so
But I'm not logical.
Neither
So
of us
there
are
we
logical-minded people.
And it's kind of like saying, geez, Laura, you can play in the NBA. Yeah, no, probably not at 4 foot nothing. No, I probably not. So,
No, it's one of those things that and I was reading what you wrote to me in your from your excerpt, your story that you had in Chicken Soup for the Soul
mm,
about what is possible.
yes,
And it was so empowering because I if you told me that you could go out and play in the NBA, I literally would believe you. I'm
okay.
serious. Because I mean, I don't think there is impossible. I think
No,
with
no,
God, anything is possible.
that's right.
Um, one of the special things that we have together that is cool is getting to do this tonight. We got together and we talked about it, and we said, well, let's get together and let's. I'll show you how I run
Yeah,
my show or not run it sometimes, and we'll learn together, and you see if it makes sense to approach your show that way. For
right.
instance, okay, we're watching our time over here.
Yeah,
I always look at the time. We've got time, but we know we still have 5 minutes left
right.
over here. I'm pointing to the this is kind of the control master over here.
Yes,
That
it's the beast, Henry
yeah,
calls it
the beast.
The
Well,
beastie. They
and
call them in Scotland the beasties.
yeah,
Go ahead.
and so we've got a little bit of time here. We've got still 8 minutes left on this radio segment. Now we're doing radio right now, but
That's right.
we're also doing Facebook Live, which has been very, very effective as far as people getting involved and growing on the show. Now the first thing
Right.
Henry's going to tell us is those letters are backward, and that I've got my camera pointed the wrong way.
Okay.
But executive decision tonight was that it was more important for us to be able to, and it's already proved to be good, so we can
Yeah.
interact with Karen and Henry. I'm expecting my friends from Anaheim, Mike and Rosanna Summerall,
Right.
to chime in. My friend Tom, who's a guest on the show, so people will chime in, and I think it's more important to interact, don't you?
I think interaction in a show like this is absolutely vital. It keeps giving us the energy to keep going. It's late at night. And for me, for you, I know that's just like, hey, this is my time of day. But I know for me, I get a little less energy if I don't think anybody's listening or anybody's actually involved in what we're
Oh,
doing.
I can
So
see
it's
that.
an energy feed for me as well.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's there's a thing about that I've noticed with entertainers too. If and you be that way with dance because
Yeah.
if you're up there and you're playing for people or like you're
Mm,
playing for an empty room,
yeah,
it's hard to make it. It's hard to focus in like it's full.
yeah,
And there's a different energy.
that's
Even if
right.
you're trying,
Yeah.
to make it, you can visualize a full house.
Mhm.
You can you can play. You can say, okay, Lord, I'm playing for you.
That's
Um,
right.
that kind of thing, and those things work sometimes.
Sure. And I wanted to take a second too and thank my husband for tuning in tonight. I know he said he was going to listen to part of the program, and then so I don't know how late he'll be up, but I just want to say hi, Keith, and thank you so much for your support for everything I'm trying to do, and for Stephen's trying to do too. Yeah.
Absolutely, and a shout out and a hello to Keith from me as well. Yeah, I read something earlier in a devotion today about the importance of finding people, finding believers that you can praise God with,
That's right.
and it's good. It's good to have those people that you're in your comfort zone with. You share beliefs in Jesus Christ
Correct.
and in the gospel story, and it allows us to praise him together, and I think being that's the body of the church.
That is exactly right. That
Hmm.
is exactly right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we're talking about we wanted to talk about, so we got all kinds of things going. We're doing a bit of a master class here. We're talking about always want to bring the gospel story in every time I broadcast. I want to make sure that we're shouting out to the nations the good news of Jesus Christ, and that if you invite him into your heart and believe on his name, that you will be saved, that you will live for eternity and in his love. And it's as simple as that. We talked about a topic that we're just going to touch on it as we've got. So we're over here at 5 minutes,
Right.
bringing down. We talked about this idea of authenticity.
Right.
And I want give me your just like your quick overview of. I mean, such a big word.
It's huge. Yeah. I think that I think in my world, I can only speak from my lens, but when I am myself, and that's trite, but it is the only way I can say it right now. I believe that I know when I'm living my authentic self. Because when I'm not, it's like walking down that curb with one foot in the gutter and one on the sidewalk, and you're trying to balance what you think you need to be with what you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no comfort and there is no balance. So I know when I'm off base with not understanding I belong first to Jesus Christ, I belong to God, and I am a child of God. That's my authenticity. From there, everything else does come. But when I'm trying to sort of put that on the back burner and say, well, you know what, God, I really, really need to do this so my writing excels, or people offer accolades for my dancing or choreography or anything like that, then I'm empty. There's a piece of me that just, it's almost like a bleeding wound. You just can't stop it. So to me, it just comes always in getting up every day and saying, what are we doing today? And how am I going to do this day with you?
Mm.
That's my authenticity. But it doesn't take much to derail me. As I explained to you, we have a lifetime subscription to humanity, and that
Excellent.
means we get off track, but we can always get back on track.
But doesn't that say so much as, I mean, to me it brings the whole idea of God becoming man so he could understand that part, that
Yes.
being fully God and fully human, we know that Jesus experienced those feelings
Yes.
and those frustrations, failure, pride, anger, resentment, jealousy, envy, all these things. He had to. That was the purpose.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing: is we've got 2 minutes left, and I can tell that we need 2 more minutes to talk in this segment. So, Laura, if you would put what you need to do is drag that 2 minutes up over here first. Okay. Now watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take this 2 minutes and I'm going to bring it right up here to the top. Well, it should work. There it is. So now we got 2 more minutes on top of this.
Man.
Okay, so that's something you can, if you feel like if you want to add a little bit of time, you can do it either to your existing mic breaks or you can do it to with over your songs and stuff.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to, for me is to get to the authentic part is I felt like I was looking at being an entertainer or
Yeah.
being a broadcaster. You have what we call a bio, and
Sure.
these are just kind of your journey, your walk, what accomplishments, things like this. And I got to the point where I wanted to kind of think, well, if I was wanting to get to the real nitty gritty, and I think as I'm moving towards this is what I want to be able to say and
Mhm.
say it from here and but live it at the beginning of the year is say, here's my bio, Laura. Stephen Ray Watts, sinner, saved by the blood of Jesus Christ. Enough said.
Yeah. Whose am I?
Mm-hmm. I had a friend that said, matter of fact, I was at a community support meeting.
Uh-huh.
I was chairing, and I was the other day, and we were at the top of the hour, and everybody knows you're really not supposed to go past the top of the hour. But every once in a while, if you're chairing, you can, and there's only one person left. And I said, well, he came in late, but I beg everybody's pardon to let me offer Tim a chance to share. And everybody was cool with it. So I said, Tim, it's on you. And he says, well, thank you. He says, he is everything.
Mm,
And I said, wow.
right. So he had that message.
Hmm.
It was important to offer that grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess when we bring this into the idea of authenticity, authenticity comes down to, I want to say, kind of a pruning idea, pruning things that are vanity, maybe, things that are ego,
Hmm.
things that feel good,
Yeah.
but
Sure.
at the same time, when it comes right down to it, how do we get to that part to where it's just flat out me and him, you and him?
Yes. Well, I think, I don't have an answer for that, other than one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, relying. That's a word I'm really becoming very familiar with circumstances right now in my life. I've had a pretty severe injury, and as a dancer, and somebody who's going to be dancing here a lot this season, that has been a devastating situation.
Mm.
And to have to rely on God's wisdom and to rest, which is not easy for me, no matter what the situation, but to rest and to rely. And it's in that silence and even in the pain that I understand
Hmm.
what really matters.
Well, we'll jump in a little bit more on that as we go along this evening. It's an excellent opening segment, and we get a chance to see that as we're winding down here. We're going to go into three songs that Laura picked, and she has excellent taste. So
Yes, I do, I must say.
this is I Am They over and over again on KUHSdenver.com. So I bring both. We're clear on radio. We're still live. We're still live on Ustream, and also you'll see that the letters are right sided over here. Henry, we decided to have letters backward tonight so we could interact with you. I think I already said that.
Actually, we just wanted to torture you, Uncle Henry.
So I'm going to bring the volume down so we can talk a little bit over
Of course.
over that. Now, so your two dials over here, if so
Yes.
you have your number 2,
And then
that's
you.
and then you're number 4. I'm number 2. But
And
like
this
when
is
you're
3.
when you're sitting in this seat, you're number 2. So when we get so here's what I want you to do. I want you to go over here, click right there. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go click on latest commercials. Good, they're bringing that up. Okay, we're going to go to, you can pick either one of your commercials. Click on it.
Which one I like for this?
We're going to play them both.
Oh, and we're going to put that here?
Put it right over there. Okay, good. Now, minimize your commercials. Okay, now go back. Now, come over here. You're going to click right on this little mover and move it down all the way. Now, these are my commercials. You're going to pick one of those, and I usually go in order because I'll forget where we were. So if you pick that one and click and drag it over. Good. So we got 2 commercials coming out of music, and the good thing about the music, this is and this I know this is riveting for for everybody.
For those of you with insomnia, we would like to say you're welcome.
Yeah,
we're helping you.
we are handling the subject of authenticity. We're talking about the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we're learning broadcasting at the same time. And we're not multitaskers. Well, she is.
No.
But
yeah, I am. Well, yeah, I am.
She's just not. When it comes to this, we're getting her to be a multitasker.
Yeah.
The reason that it's good for me as far as to do, like if I'm coming out of a song, if you want to do, it's easier to come out of a song and go into a commercial, because what that'll do is you'll hear the commercial and you'll go, oh, I got 30 seconds before I'm on. with a guest and I can tell my guests, stand by. I've got 2 commercials that we're going to listen to, and then we're going to be right back on with our on topic.
Okay.
So what I want
Now
you
we're
to do,
gonna do is mic break.
you're going to do. So what I want to do is I want to do a 2-minute one first. Perfect, and then I'm going to do 2 5-minute ones. See how easy that is? And the good thing is that you can see everything over in this Q Manager, and I love it. It just makes things easier for
Is
me.
it the same as up here? I mean, this is the same.
I mean, technically, I think you're right.
Okay. It
You're
looks
right.
the same to me.
It's for me. It is. It has to be.
Has to be.
But for me, seeing it over here, I can look over here and then look at my time over here. It makes a lot of sense to me. So
So I hope you folks are taking notes because this is class time now. This is night school.
yes, and we are gonna stay on our topic as well throughout the evening. I'm also going to share a couple of devotions that I feel very strongly about, especially the devotions of trying to stay in joy, stay in praise. And one of the things for me that I've noticed that brings me out of any kind of a tough day or a bluesy kind of thing is to praise and thanks, being grateful, thanking. And we were talking before the show. There's our friend Tom Quinlan.
Hi, Tom Quinlan.
Thanks for chiming in. Great to see you. I was telling Laura that you were gonna listen tonight, and so I'm very very excited that you're listening to Conscious Conversations tonight. But sometimes thanking the Lord for the specific thing that is bothering you is so counterintuitive.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because you want out.
And you feel trite by doing it. You feel like you're being fake.
Yeah.
And that's not authentic.
No.
So how do you do that?
Practice. Fake it till you make it.
Love it.
Because, or you know what I think I've learned in the last 2 years is to say, God, you know how I feel, but I'm going to praise you anyway. And you know that I really don't always mean that, but I need you to help me mean that. And one of the things that I found this last week was in Nehemiah, and it was where God said, get up, eat good food, drink good drink, take care of those who do not have, and go out. Now, let's paraphrase, folks. I'm sorry. Go out and have joy in this day because this is still my day. No matter what's going on, this is my day. And I kept saying to him, I can't do that. I can't do that. So he broke it down for me. It was like, get up. First step, get up.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can just get up, then I know I can keep moving. But I have to rely some days on him to even help me to want to praise. Because he knows my heart. Some days I'm sad, I'm broken, I'm frightened. And thank God not a lot of days anymore. But I look at the track record of my God and I know that he's on the bus at all times.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, I sometimes think one of the great blessings of a faith and a trust in Jesus and God is the idea that you, at your lowest point, there's still that part, I'm going to come through this somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow he's going to help me through this.
Mm-hmm.
We have a saying in the recovery rooms, and I used to despise it because I wasn't letting it help me. And all the sayings that I've learned in those rooms have been for my own good.
Oh, yeah.
But this one was, this too shall pass.
Yes.
But when you're in it, and when you're in it, and you're feeling that despair, you're feeling that um, lack of hope, those type feelings, it's hard to say this too shall pass.
Yes. It is hard to say it and mean it. I don't think it's hard to say it. I think it's hard to say it and mean it.
Hmm.
That's the difference. And I think even more importantly, in recovery rooms, we are called to walk alongside other people. And sometimes the best thing I found that I can do is just be silent, just listen. Because sometimes those sayings thrown at the wrong time, we know those sayings. Many of us live those sayings. But sometimes the best thing we can do is just stand in the pain.
Oh, see, that's and lean in.
You lean in and get up. Go do the day.
There is, and I've heard a number of people say it lately, is that there's a good part of growing in honor and um, praise in suffering well.
Yes. And you know that is in other religions besides our particular faith base. And I think there's a lot to be learned from listening to other people's stories without judgment, without saying, well, that person isn't a Christian, so they can't be, this can't be an authentic growth opportunity. And I have learned this from people who practice other faith paths that there is purpose to suffering. And that's so counterintuitive for us,
It is,
especially in this culture, because
Yeah.
we want to feel good, we want to look good, we want to be young forever. And somehow we bought this whole, I don't know if I bought it. I think if I did buy it, I probably returned it to the seller, that somehow life is going to be perfect.
hmm
And that's what we're striving for, is a perfection of life. And it's like, no one ever said that was going to happen.
hmm
And the disappointment is we author our own disappointment by expecting that and by not seeing the trials that come. Now, my husband will tell you I'm not very good with trials either. I mean, sometimes I can just snot and snort and scream, and I don't throw things anymore. I got tired of investing in super glue. But I think, the outlet, the authentic outlet of emotion is another thing. To go to God and say, you know what, I'm not real pleased with this.
hmm
And I realize you got this whole stuff going on in the Middle East and Washington and whatever, but hey, what about me? He knows that's how I feel anyway.
Yeah. And that's like what we were talking before the show is, I did that very thing. I was on a run and I got out there. I started, I thought healthily venting my displeasure about some things to the Lord. And what I did is I brought things to the forefront of how I was feeling, and I wasn't surrendering.
That's it.
And I used to think that my mother was in denial on many things in her life, that but my mother was a genuinely happy person. And I would get so mad at her for being in denial about these things. I would always say, well, she believed what she wanted to believe. I could tell her, well, that marijuana was my friend's, and
oh, okay,
yeah,
give it back to it.
yeah, and and it's a rite of passage for I think sometimes for our young people to believe that their parents don't know anything.
That's right.
But what I realized was, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, it was, no, she's not in denial. What she was doing is just saying, I can't handle it. I'm giving it to you, God.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and there's a difference. Maybe it's a holy denial.
I don't know if it's that or if it's just that because I didn't know your mother, and of course I can't know fully what another person thinks, even if they tell me. I sometimes don't understand it, but I believe that for me, just confessing how I feel, and there's a dance I teach called Hush Child, and it's to an African beat, and I just love it. And it says, hush child, don't be afraid. soon we will be in Zion. And it's putting us back into to the perspective that this too shall pass. And soon we will be in Zion. And Zion can be here today, that holy mountain, that peaceful
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
We can bring that. Now, it isn't God saying, be quiet or I'll give you something to cry about,
Yeah.
which I heard when I was a kid. But you want to cry, I'll give you something. He's bringing you up on his lap, and he's rocking you and saying, soon we're going to be in Zion. But the comfort cannot come if we're not truthfully giving him our pain and our joy, but our concerns, our worries. And when we authentically, I think, give to him, he gives us the soothing, the rocking, the like you do your child when your child was small, and you'd rock him and say, hush child, it's okay, it's okay. And it's an assurance kind of hush child. It's a fabulous dance. I love it. I teach it at workshops all the time to bring people back into focus.
Mm-hmm.
And myself, I do it a lot. I'm always hush childing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's teaching that lesson. And you know, the funny thing about it is you know, I'm one of those people that needs to learn a lesson, it seems, more than once.
Oh,
And
yes,
I'm
me too.
striving
Absolutely.
so hard. How come, Lord, I can't have that epiphany, or you know, and learn that lesson and have it in my storehouse?
I know.
And to
Yeah.
where I don't have to learn it again.
Well, I love the Book of Life. The lab stinks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it
Some
does.
days it stinks.
Yeah.
But it's still good. It's good.
Talk about trudging.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got 11 seconds. We're going to go in. We're going to hear a commercial for Laura Paget's show, The Artist Nook, and then we'll hear another commercial, and then we'll be back into another radio spot. We've got people listening and tuned in from all over the world, from, I think it's pronounced Asan, Germany, Pakistan, Arlington, United States, India, Hungary, Chandigarh, India, Arlington, and I already said Arlington, Jakarta, and Carlsbad, United States. I'm going to refresh this so we know whoever's tuned in again.
F5.
F5? You're not a slow learner.
I'm a slow learner.
How about that? We've got Livingston, Montana.
Hey, Montana.
Mumbai. I just like saying Mumbai. There's those that you know about.
There's something about Mumbai. You know, it just makes you want to move.
Absolutely. Flagstaff, and Mexico, and Merced, California. Okay, we're coming up on. So we've got one commercial playing now. You'll see this now. After this, when we get into this next one, while we're talking,
we'll pick some more music.
So
Hey.
getting ready to go live in just a few seconds. I'm going to bring up my mic first, and then hopefully I won't forget to bring yours up. I'm going to bring yours up anyway, because I'll forget. Just so you know you're. And you are listening to KUHSdenver.com on Conscious Conversations for Sunday night, October 29th, 2017. And my name is Stephen Ray Watts. I'm with my special guest, Laura Paget, tonight. We're just having all kinds of fun in the studio tonight. This is a special show, a special time for me to get to spend with one of my dearest friends in this whole world. A person that I respect and love dearly, not only for the person that she is, but for her work. And she inspires me by the way she lives her life, and the way, you know, she's authentic about her art, and she's honest about it. I want to get into the idea of honesty being a huge part of authenticity. But before we do that, I want to share a devotion with you all. This is from Jesus Always by Sarah Young. And those of you know that I love these devotions by Sarah Young. I wanted to make mention, I'm sorry, I'm coming up close to this camera. So Bernadette, thank you for coming in, and Daryl Cutchin, one of my guests from a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Good to hear from both of you. Thanks for tuning into Facebook Live tonight and tuning into Conscious Conversations. We appreciate your feedback on the show tonight. These devotions by Sarah Young are as if Jesus were talking. And so keep that in mind, but they're all based directly out of the living Word of God. And I can't say that any stronger. Not the Bible. It is the Bible. But what the Bible is the living Word of God. Make no mistake about that. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Sometimes you feel bombarded with all the bad things happening in the world. News reports are alarming, and people are calling evil good and good evil. All of this can be overwhelming unless you stay in communication with me. I am saddened, but not surprised by the horrors you see around you. I know fully the deceitful, wicked condition of human hearts. Unless people are redeemed through saving faith in me, their potential for doing wrong is unlimited. Instead of being disheartened by the condition of the world, I want my followers to be lights shining in darkness. When evil appears to be winning, be more determined than ever to accomplish something good. Sometimes this will involve working directly against the bad things that upset you. At other times, it will be a matter of doing whatever you can to promote biblical goodness according to your gifts, abilities, and circumstances. Either way, you focus less on bemoaning evil and more on working to create something that is good. That's based on scriptures Romans 12, verse 21, Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, and also Jeremiah 17, verse 9. That's the New King James Version. Well, we have, and Sandra's watching tonight. Hi, Sandra. Glad you're with us tonight on Conscious Conversations with Laura Padgett and I. We're doing a master class here. If you just tuned in, we're doing three things at once. We're doing a master class on broadcasting right here at KUHS Denver, and we're also doing authenticity, and we're also doing the gospel of Jesus Christ. Thanks for tuning in, Sandra. It means so much to me especially. Well, so now we've got 2 minutes over here, and we got 5 minutes here. I know we need a little bit more time.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you choose how much time and bring it up and over there.
Okay. I'm not really sure of what I'm doing, folks. So if I mess this up, you can blame me. I think we'll take 5.
Perfect.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so I think that'll be a good spot. And then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna join in. I wanted to ask you, and we're gonna get into something later, but I want to take this moment, explain your
attire.
Yes.
My attire. Today in the Presbyterian Church is Scot Day, SCOT, because the Presbyterian Church has its origins in Scotland, John Knox, Calvin, those people. So on Tuesday, coming up, actually Halloween, is the 500-year anniversary of Reformation, Martin Luther, who nailed the 95 Theses to the door, saying, hey, these are the questions I have, guys. Could we talk about this? Which, of course, we all know that Martin got in a little trouble there. But Scotland also is huge in the Reformation movement. So we have Scott Day, and on that day we wear our tartans. I wear my tartans a lot. I have two tartans. The red one that I'm wearing tonight is my clan, and that clan is McFarland. The blue and green one that I'm holding up for you to see is from my family. The family name from Glasgow was Weir, and they went under the clan of the McFarlands to for protection, for nurturing, to be taken care of in the clan war days. So that's why I'm wearing my tartans. I wear them a lot. I'm an Irish dancer. The Scottish dance I love too, but I could never quite jump around like that. But my mother was Scottish and Irish, and the heritage that I have on that side of my family means a great deal. My Italian heritage means a lot as well. And for those of you out there going, ooh, Irish, Scottish, and Italian. Yes, yes, you're right. Oh, brother. Lots of rich therapists from people with that kind of heritage because we're really kind of wacko. But it means so much to me. We've been to Scotland one time, and my husband and I are going back next summer because I just have to go home. And I
Mhm.
love Scotland. I love the music. I love the people. I like all the food except for keep the haggis. Don't put it on my plate. But I know quite a bit about my tartans, about my clan, about my family, and I'm very, very grateful. And it just makes my heart warm to think about Scotland and the people and what a wonderful heritage that is. So that's why I'm wearing my tartans tonight.
And it fits in with our topic so well. I get a kick out of you talking about your Italian side because I always kid Sandra about my wife about she's half German
Mm.
and half, as I say, Italian.
Oh, brother. Oh, man. My husband says that now because there's no such place as idling. There is no idling.
That's right.
Sandra, get on him. Teach this man.
There's no idly.
No, ma'am. No, sir.
But it's one of those things, and it's a wonderful combination, and I think your combination is awesome as well. But it's authentic, and
Yeah,
it's
that's what I am.
authentic. The idea of who we are, and I get so frustrated with some people in the recovery rooms when they say they're a recovering Catholic, and stuff like that. I'm going, now come on now, really, it's your experience with a religion,
Mm.
and this can be good or bad based on many things.
Yeah.
But don't let the idea of the basic sense of, well, Christ came to save you,
Yeah.
and so that you could have an eternal life and live in joy with Him. Being this idea of authenticity that we're talking about, I find it one of the greatest things that happened for me in sobriety was the freedom of all out honesty.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that, oh my gosh, it's going to be the hardest thing I ever did is, being honest when it hurts, or just, I have to be honest with myself is one of the hard parts. But the honesty lets you be free to be okay with your authentic self.
Well, and as they tell us in recovery too, if you don't get real, you just can't heal. And that's right. I mean, if I go to my doctor and say, and I just had this happen, I told you, which devastated me. I pulled my IT band. And for those of you who are runners or athletes or dancers out there, it's a terrible injury. It's not a good injury to have. And I've had to rehab that so that I can dance this season coming up. And I have to tell you, if I went into my doctor and he said, well, Laura, tell me what the pain level is, I said, well, it's just about a 2, doc. No, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's 15. I'm
Hmm.
hurting. I can barely
Yeah.
walk, let alone go to rehearsals
Hmm.
and dance. So I had to be real so we could get to the problem and he could begin to help me heal it up and do the rehab, which we've been doing for a few weeks now. So, and it's the same thing with spiritual maladies, which is what we are recovering from. And it's the same thing with mental conditions. It's the same thing with anything that takes help to heal. If you're not going to be real about it, you're not going to get the right healing. It's just not going to happen.
And that's a great one. I hadn't heard that one, and I love it. I mean, if you can't get real, you're not going to heal. That and I mean, there's another one that I hadn't heard, and it's a little bit different. But it's the same kind of thing, and it's your ego is not your amigo,
I love
and
it.
and that's really true.
Yeah.
That's a part of the idea of authenticity from the standpoint of we live in a society where fame and recognition is set at such a high value. And we're talking about not and fame, and it doesn't have to be for any reason. I mean, we're in this social media world now where it's the fame is just how many people know you.
That's right. That how many people have liked your last post? How many people are on your author page or your Dotsero page, your band page? How many people? And it's an idea of collecting something that may not even be real.
Or putting something out there that is shock value in order to get attention.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's the old idea here, Laura, and I'm you know what? Can
You're
you
fine.
can you give us another 5?
I can give you another 5.
That would be great.
We're going to
We're
give him another 5.
well, I'm having Laura
But
put another 5 minutes on our talk here for the radio because I think it's something I want to get to. Okay, now you're going to bring it up. Perfect. Try it again.
see, on the
Now you
87th
got it.
on the 87th time, she may get it.
She'll get it. It's little below there. A
Oh,
little below. Right. There.
right there.
Right there. Let go.
Nope, it's not working, folks.
Sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes you just have to. There we go.
See, the magic touch.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is and I knew that was going to happen. The idea of we learn this in another thing we learn in and I think we learn this in churches too, but we learn this in recovery rooms is the idea of attraction versus promotion.
Exactly.
And we are so far at the risk of being opinionated, we are so far into the promotion realm of everything. It's
That's
gone. It's gone crazy.
Yes, it has. And I think what happens for me is that I can become, certainly with my first book, I for a while became very depressed that I wasn't getting reviews on it. And I still don't have a lot of reviews on the book. And even though I know lots of people have read it and lots of people email me and ask me to speak about it and have bought the book. But a friend of mine, who is a wonderful author, she's been on my show, she'll be with me again next year, called Patricia Raybont. And she said, forget the reviews, drop the reviews. Because if you are gauging your work for God by man's approval, you are totally on the wrong place, the wrong plane. And it was like, God approves of what you're doing. You worked with him on this. You came out with a good product. It is helping lots of people in recovery, and it is telling the story of no matter how broken, how lost, how rejected, how abandoned, you are always his, and he will redeem you. And that's what you said, and that's what you told, and that's all it was. Now, people can like it or not. That's okay. But if you are dependent upon the reviews to say, well, I'm not going to write another book because it didn't do so great with the other, you have to go back and redefine what is so great.
Well, it's
That's
what you,
great advice.
and it is, and it's the content. It's it's substance,
Mhm.
content, substance. You put, and I've read your book, and your book changed my life.
Really?
It did. It changed my life, not only from the standpoint of did I know the minute I was reading it, I could relate on a different level because of being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But relate and understand a little better about what a person goes through who's dealing with an alcoholic.
Right. Yeah.
From that standpoint, oh my gosh, it was a wealth of and then I could relate to all the other people that were in your life. Having people, I had a grandma named Fern.
Oh,
And
that's right. You
yes,
told me that.
and so many, and the some of the biblical verses in there that were so special to you within that journey, and became are just were so important to me. It's okay. And what happens? Okay, so this content, this substance, whether it be music, whether it be uh, uh, visual art, what happens if its place of prominence is in a different generation? It might be in a future generation that is prominently at its place where we might judge it being where we thought it might be now. You see what I'm saying?
That's God's timing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really none of my business.
Yeah.
It's really none of my business. I just do what he tells me to do, and what I think he's telling me to do. And you know when I knew this book was authentic, Stephen, I'll tell you, when I walked out one night out of my office and I went up to my husband who is sitting there at the kitchen table, I said, I cannot do this. I cannot walk back through this. I cannot peel this onion any deeper. You know, we have the onion analogy in recovery. I cannot go back through the pain of losing Dolores and Trevor. I can't go back through the pain of what it took me to walk into the rooms of recovery. I can't do this. And that's when I knew, you're right, you can't. I can't. Back to the drawing board. And I went back in. And Keith prayed for me through the whole book because he realized what I was doing was telling a story of what really happened. But as we walked through it, and it was important to me that it be a book about from victim to victor, from tears to triumph, not dialoguing the details of the abuse or the abandonment or the alcoholic home, but to say enough of it so people knew I was a bitter, angry, really angry with God, really angry with everyone, young. When I met the Lord, I was 26, and what it took for him to reach down to me in a Damascus experience and say, you are mine. I love you. I will go the distance. And he does that for each and every one of us. But I knew it was real when I wanted to throw up my toenails. That's just all I can say. I cried myself to just absolute drought.
And I've been working on this. Relate to this way, Laura. I've been working on this contemporary Christian CD, and I feel it becoming more important than God wants me to have it be. He wants me to have it in the right place. So he's telling me, in order for this to be in the right place, for you to have it, be willing to let it go.
That's right.
And I don't like that. I don't like hearing that. You know?
And it's okay to say that, Tim. It's okay to say, God, I don't like that. And I was at a Bible study one time with a man who said to me, oh, you should never say, God, I don't like that. And I would say to him, God and I get into it. I mean, we get into it. It's like, God, I'm Irish, Italian, and Scottish, and you made me that way, so I don't know why you don't expect resistance. But God and I were arguing about something, and I went to the Bible study. I said, you know, we just having a fisticuffs here, me and the Lord. And he said, "Oh no, you should never do that. You should never, ever, ever, ever do that." And I thought to myself, you know, I really believed him for a while. And then I realized if God can't handle my authenticity, and he expected me when I became a believer to become something I'm not, then I don't think I need that kind of God.
Yeah.
I need one that loves me no matter what I'm up against.
And you're so right. And the idea of it is, and hey, here we go again, as if he didn't already know what we feel like,
Hello.
right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
and that's it's an interesting it's an interesting way of looking. You know, the idea of substance and what we consider important. And I truly believe that our society, and many times the world considers what's popular is good. And if it's unpopular, well, what's wrong with it? And no, instead of saying, and I don't know, I don't have enough self-worth to trust myself to understand what I might like, or have somebody teach me to say, you know, there's a little bit more over here. If you take the time to look, you may acquire a taste for something that's higher than you think. When we come back, we'll continue our talk on authenticity. We've just scratched the surface, but this is just because. This goes out to Sandra, because, well, just because she likes this song. And we're clear from radio. Now you can
Let's get some music.
you can pick okay. I'm gonna make sure you're not. So bring your mic this way.
Oh, sorry.
That way.
Blocking myself?
Yeah, you're good. I just want to make sure I'm getting you all the time.
Yes.
Okay. So you
I'm
can
ready
come
for
over
my
here.
close-up, Mr. DeMille. I'm sorry.
I read about that.
People under 40 aren't going to get that one,
No,
but it's all right.
I read about
Maybe
that
even
this
under
last
60.
week.
Yeah, I know. Oh, man. Are we reading about that now?
Yeah.
All right. So let's find something.
Okay,
really-
so we're going to go over here to this little knob, and we're going to click on it. Okay, now we can go up, and you can look, go bring it all the way up and see if
Oh,
you.
Latin sandwiches.
Okay,
Can we do that one?
sure. Perfect. Okay,
Yes.
now pick another one. No, don't do that. We've already done that one, so
Oh,
we want to do.
did we do me and Jessie Lee?
No, that's my closing song.
Okay, can't do that one. Good, good. Okay, I know. I love that one too. I'm sorry.
But we can do it. We can do anything we
No,
want.
that's okay. We do. Let's see. Oh, Beauty for Ashes.
Okay, you'll like that
I love
one.
that one. I know. I love that one.
And then one more.
Okay. Let me see what I can find. Oh, Perfect Gift.
Sure.
I like that one too. I
Okay.
played that one a lot because all my gifts are perfect gifts.
Okay, now what the next thing? Commercials. You're so on top of the scene. I'm top. See what I'm saying? She's saying she's a slow learner,
She is a slow
and she's
learner.
got this thing down.
No, she doesn't. Remember, Uncle Henry has worked with me on this, and it's too a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I'm trying to remember what you guys have said, but I got to tell you the truth. I'm loving this. It's like I can do this.
Yeah, you can do
I
this.
can do this.
You can do this. And the thing about it is when you get the hang of it, you know, it's a lot of fun.
Now
And
we need to get out of this.
no, you can. No, you don't need to minimize. You can
Okay.
pick. Let's go. We're gonna pick one more. We
Song?
went. Let's go here, and I'll tell you why. This is
Is it-
my substance abuse commercial.
Right here, or the one up
No,
above?
let's see. Go one up above. See what happens.
This guy.
Let's go all the way down.
Do I?
So I thought we started down here, didn't we?
I don't remember.
Let's go right here. Yeah, let's do it.
Am I doing right?
Yep.
I'm doing right.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down. You're gonna find your commercials.
Here?
Okay, you go up to latest. Yeah.
I know.
And then we played.
We played this one,
So we're
let's
going
play
with that one. Now you can minimize. Fast as lightning. How about that?
How about that? Yeah, I took my ginkgo biloba today. I thought that's supposed to help with memory, but I bought some and couldn't remember where I put it.
Oh, no.
No, that's a joke. No, I don't take that kind of stuff, but I take a lot of herbs. But yeah, that's so I can keep moving. And now, how about if we do, right?
Perfect.
And maybe 2 of those.
Yeah.
And then if we need more, we'll do more.
That's
But
a
we
good,
leave
that's a
this
great
guy
plan.
here. This is the one we're always
Right. We leave that
popping.
one there.
I gotcha.
And then we're looking good there, and we're looking at our time over here,
Hmm.
and then we're looking at our time here. Look at that, how fast.
I know.
I mean,
an hour's gone already.
You know, and
Over an hour.
and in order to get in, and so what I've learned is with my guests, I try to do because I was running my guests all the way up to midnight. I'm going, well, if you do that, then you're not doing a 2-hour show. You're doing a 2-hour plus show.
I see.
So what I'm trying to do is back it off so I can
Okay.
get my guests on the road a little bit earlier, so they can, get so they're out on the road on the way to where they're going by midnight.
Which
And then
I'm going halfway to Wyoming.
Right.
No, we're halfway to Wyoming now. I'm
Yeah.
going halfway to Utah.
Yeah.
I'm going
So
to
then
Wyoming.
that gives me a chance that then I can just sign off, and it makes it caps it off closer to a 2-hour show. So
You bet. Anything. Tell me to do. Did you want me to read this?
I'd love to, but if you do it now, I'm going to have you do it twice. So if you don't mind, I'd love to do that.
You mean you do it when we're on the
Do
air?
both?
No, I do just the one. That's fine.
Okay.
You want it? No, whatever. You're the boss.
Oh,
You're
no,
driving.
I'm not the boss.
You're driving.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and it's a very special night for me, getting a chance to do this. We met at a Starbucks a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We were just kind of it was one of those lunch meetings where we just sat down and we're both able to just for a little minute just to kind of let down for a few minutes, and it did me so much good to
Me
be able
too.
to just
Yeah.
say, here's what's going on. Here's the things that are good. Here's the things that are not so good, and to have that friendship to be able to do
That's
that
right.
is important.
And that's the authenticity piece of our relationship. And maybe that's because we are both in recovery. I don't know. Obviously, we were brought together by KUHS, which
Mhm.
has been a huge blessing in my life, and I know you've said so too. And we met here, and you know how that happened was I came in one day to do a promo, and Henry said, "Hey, we're going to start this new show." And Henry had read my book, so he knew
Mhm.
about my story of recovering from a family of abuse and alcoholism. And he said, "You might want to meet this gentleman coming in." And I said, "Who is it?" He said, "Stephen Ray Watts." And I went, "Stephen Ray Watts of," and he goes, "Dot Zero." I go, "I have all of Dot Zero's music. I've seen him." And he said, "Well, you want to meet him?" And I said, "No, I don't want to take his time, man. I know he's busy. Just hang out." So I hung out for a second. I kind of stood back in the corner, and then we met, and Henry got a phone call. And it was like, boom,
Yeah.
we were off, and you went out and got your CD, and I was
Mhm.
signed to copy the book, and it was all very God
Very special
orchestrated.
day.
Yeah, he choreographed that whole
Mhm.
day, and we've just been friends since. And I know if I need you, I can call you. If you need me, you can call me. And so that day at Starbucks was brilliant.
And it was, and the idea, and we share a verse, a biblical verse that we both cherish, which is Jeremiah 29:11.
Yeah.
And it's that I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And he goes on. I can tell you the rest of it, but it's a very uplifting, empowering verse that God is very definitely with you.
Mhm.
And to find that trust, to let go with that surrender and trust is part of finding your authentic self. I think part of this idea of authenticity is learning to be okay with what you find.
And knowing that you're not driving the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And you could try to take the wheel back, and I certainly do. And I'm no better than anyone else, but I think the history now, the longer I live, I'm 66 years old, and I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited about being 66
See, that's awesome.
because I love it. And that's one of the authentic things I fight constantly. It always breaks my heart when a woman says to me, "Oh, it's my birthday." I'm like, dude, let's go have lunch. Let's go have chocolate. Let's go have something to celebrate. Let's go have a big float or something, because every day you've been given is another opportunity to do his work. And I have so many friends, as I'm 66, I have friends that didn't make it this far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that would have loved to have remained in this vessel on this planet for longer. But man, I really fight this anti-aging thing. I'm just going to say it right out there. If any of our sponsors are anti-aging, I got to tell you, that is like, to me, every second you breathe, you're aging. Your cells are aging, your skin is aging, your body is aging. We were talking about all our injuries.
Yeah.
It's like the warranty's up, all the parts are falling off. But the fact is, to not embrace aging, to not embrace it, is an ungrateful posture, in my opinion.
Well, and I think it's undignified for our country. I
Oh
mean,
my.
I think our country,
moneymaker,
and
though.
here I am being more opinionated than normal, but I don't believe our country honors and loves our elderly the way it should.
No. And I don't know if that's always been the case. Certainly Dolores, who lived to be 100, the subject of my book, her wisdom helped grow me into a better person.
Mm-hmm.
A huge, almost like an IV of this woman for 35 years, and learning things and unlearning. That was the big thing. I had to unlearn all the lies I'd been told about not being worthy, not being loved, not being needed or loved or lovable. And this woman taught me the love of Jesus Christ by walking the way she did. And that's what I try to do now with other women. Whether I sponsor somebody or whatever, the fact is, as an elder now, I'm an elder now. I am like, dude, you have no idea how much fun life is now. Yeah, I got my aches and pains. I'm in the Target yesterday, if I could say that word, and I'm buying Epsom salt and Advil. And I turn around, here's this young guy, must have been 30, maybe young, and he's going, yeah, I'm doing that too. He looks real fit. He's an athlete. I go, this is the dancer's cocktail, Advil and Epsom salt. I live with this stuff. But yeah, there's stuff going on in my body I wish wasn't, but I got to tell you, this is a great time alive.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the authenticity of why shouldn't we celebrate who we are right here, right now? Because it's not going to change.
I'm sorry.
You're not going to go backward.
Oh, you can use the oil of delay and the suck and tuck forever. But the fact is, you are aging cellularly. And hopefully your brain is aging in a good way.
Right. But when you look at, and I had the other day, I'm thinking about to myself, okay, this little time that I'm here, I better make good use of, because compared to a new body and life, praising Christ for eternity, it's nothing. It's less than a blink of an eye, if that.
Yeah.
So it's like you say, that's to be cherished, to be nurtured, and live to the absolute fullest.
Every minute. And here's the deal. And I teach this in my workshops on aging with beauty. I say, I want you to look at me face on. And everybody, if you're watching me and watching us out there, try this. Now just reach out in front of yourself there. Look in the mirror. First of all, don't tell yourself, I don't like the size of that, or that's too big, or gravity has that, because you're telling your body it's unworthy. That's a cellular destruction, I'm telling you. So just do this with me. Now turn as far as you can without ending up in the chiropractor's office.
Right.
Stay like that. Now, can you move forward? Can you see what's in front of you? That's a retro reach. You are reaching back for something that's gone. and yet your hands are still symbolic
Mm-hmm.
of moving out, moving forward. You're still moving forward, but you're back here.
Mm-hmm.
You've completely gotten yourself out of kilter in terms of your purpose, your progress, and you stay like that for about 5 minutes and see how much fun it is.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what we are telling women in our society to do. You're 66. No, you need to look forward. Why?
Why?
My husband's
Why?
76. You know, if he wanted a younger looking person, I guess he'd go get her, but I don't think he does. But I'm just saying, why?
Right.
And I threw my scales away because they lied. So they had to go. The
Yeah.
scales got thrown out. But I'm just saying the vanity that we're talking about and why it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I was in the medical world. I watched this
Mm-hmm.
from the early 70s on.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, ladies, I'm telling you, you are beautiful at every age, at every stage. You have value, you have worth, and you have something to teach somebody. Whether you're raising those little guys or gals at home, or whether you're out there speaking to empower not only women, but men to say, we have a life. Let's live it all. Our lives don't stop when we're 45.
Mm-mm.
No.
No. No. And it's part of that being in touch with, being okay with, actually being more than okay with, being excited about who you are at what age. And it's a surrender to and a trust and realizing that, one of the things that it's, I tell people this and they look at me like I'm crazy. And I knew it. Hi, Rosanna.
Hi, Rosanna.
I knew Rosanna and Mike would
And
would
I heard
come
you
in.
guys when you were on the program. They've been on twice,
Yeah,
right?
they are
And
my
I've
friend.
heard you, and I love you, and God bless you guys out there. You're in Anaheim. Is that right?
Yeah, you hit it right on the nail.
I know
Yeah.
those memory cells are kind of firing tonight. We don't know. I must be the Pellegrino. I don't know. But hiya. I hope I can meet you in person someday.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that will definitely happen. We've got a lot of plans for the future, the three of us, and talking about a ministry that we're putting together, and we're gonna
brilliant.
take places. I'm so happy you. I was waiting to see you tune in, Rosanna, and what we're doing is we're confirming, and I haven't even had a chance to text them that yet, but we're confirming a live broadcast of Conscious Conversations, which will be at 8 o'clock. Now it's going to be in January the 28th, 2018. We're going to do a live broadcast from Anaheim. We're going to do a concert, and it's going to be a concert, and then we're going to do the live show and testimony from both Mike and Rosanna.
Brilliant.
And we're going to do it from Rushing Wind Bikers Church in Whittier. So we're
Because
excited
he was
about
in
it.
the bike accident.
That's correct.
Yes, and
That's
I do
correct.
remember. I do remember this. It touched my heart so much.
Very,
I think I listened to it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, they're very, very involved with Down Bikers
Yes.
and Bikers for Christ. And
brilliant.
so it's a beautiful thing. We're talking about authenticity, and we're talking about the idea of being okay with who you are. One of the things that empowered me, and I had no idea. It used to bug me when people would say, I'm a grateful alcoholic, or they say, hi, I'm Steve, and I'm glad I'm an alcoholic, and it would just rub me, and
I can imagine.
Yet right now, for me to be able to go anywhere, and if I was within a crowd or within just talking to people, and they say, hey, well, what are you? What do you do, Steve? Well, I'm an alcoholic. I'm so comfortable with saying that because that's who I am, Laura.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
And it's okay. And the reason it's okay is because I know I have amends to make, and I will spend a lifetime making those amends. At the same time, I know I have service to do, and I have been given the gift of being able to help.
There you go.
Give something of this to somebody. And that's a freedom of I'm okay with being an alcoholic. So it's not saying, I'm an alcoholic. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to say that anymore. And
Yeah.
it does sound funny when you start shouting to the world, hey, you know what? Guess what? I'm an alcoholic.
And I hear people say that they're grateful in the recovery program I'm in because, everybody has stuff. I don't care if you're an addict or you're not, or, you're whatever, what are the isms? The fact is, we all have stuff, and what a wonderful way to learn to live. And I just had 3 upheavals in my life in the last few days, just little upheavals, nothing major. But I sat in that discomfort for a while, and I did my inventory. I said, what's going on here? Why am I reacting?
Mhm.
What's happening?
Yeah,
And what a great tool to be
absolutely.
able to walk it out and say, hey, that person's doing that to me. And I have a wonderful friend who always says, hey, if you spot it, you got it. So it's an opportunity to look at what's going on here, back away from that, come back to my authenticity and say, what the heck, what's going on here?
Mhm.
And then I can walk it out and
Yes.
turn it over, because there's the real.
Mhm.
Heal it, Lord,
Mhm.
instead of trying to lie to him and say, well, so-and-so just did something so bad. But no, that's the other thing about authenticity, Stephen, is that when we're pointing our finger at other people, it's a way to take our focus off ourselves. And the
Mhm.
focus should be here in terms of trying to work my program and walk forward at all times, and not not trying to keep my attention on what's wrong with everybody else.
Yeah. And I'm so guilty of that. That there again, that's
I am too.
that's my dose of the reality of the human race. Of judging is something that is very I find myself struggling with in so many cases. Even judging from a biblical standpoint of saying, well, I'm taught that this is not good. At the same time, what I it's and I learned and it took I was in Anaheim a couple weeks back, and it was Mike and Rosanna that remind me um, hate the sin, love the sinner.
That's right.
And man, it hit me like a ton of bricks again. I said, absolutely. Do not have to judge. You can love unconditionally. Don't have to like the behavior or agree with the behavior.
That's correct.
But the Lord is very definitely in control. And when it comes right down to it, if you talk about an authenticity of what a Christian uh, should endeavor to be, it is the light, the love, and the truth.
Mhm.
The light, love, and truth of that's authentic.
And to be imperfect.
And to be
Don't
perfect
you
in
just
their imperfection.
don't you just love the perfect Christians of the world?
Oh,
no offense,
yeah.
no offense, y'all.
No.
I'm just saying, Poe Buddy's nerfing.
Well, but it's
I'm
exhausting.
telling you, Poe Buddy's nerfing.
It's true. And it's exhausting trying to be the perfect Christian.
Woo!
You know?
I know.
Well, we're getting ready to go live. We got one more commercial. We're going to hear your commercial. See how it
My
sounds.
commercial's coming up.
So we're going live. And this is Conscious Conversations on KUHSdenver.com on Sunday night, October 29th, 2017. And that book that Laura was just talking about on her radio spot. Dolores Like the River is an absolute must read. So you can find it from her website or go to Amazon and get that book. I promise you that you will find it something that will enrich your life greatly. We've got listeners tuned in from, I'm happy to see, I'm wondering, I got to find this out, and I have no way of being able to find this out, but I got my friends on live Facebook, Mike and Roseanne Sumrall, and they are from Anaheim, but then again, it says over here that people are tuned in from Santa Ana, which I know is either close or the same thing, so it could be that that's who's tuned in, but we'd like to welcome people in from Santa Ana, United States, California, United States, from Australia. Always like to see the people from down under tuning into Conscious Conversations, because I am some way, somehow going to get to Sydney and play in that opera house
Oh man, I hope
in
so.
my lifetime.
I hope so.
Lima, Peru. We've got San Francisco. We've got Wroclaw, Poland. I'm going to even try to pronounce this one. Umeå, Sweden. I think that's how you would. Umeå. Anyway, forgive me if I didn't pronounce it right, but Sweden. Also, Medan, Indonesia. Ottawa, Canada. I can always handle that one because I know the big hockey fans up there in Ottawa. And also Mexico as well. So many people from all over the world united, talking about the gospel of Jesus Christ, talking about authenticity and honesty and love and truth and surrender and trust in our Lord, which is all things that make us who we authentically are. We're talking about all these subjects and more. But before we do that, we're running out of time fast, but I want to share one more devotion. This is from Our Daily Bread. And if you don't have that devotion, you can write into ourdailybread.org, and it's free. And it's something that I just truly love. It starts out my day in a special way. This one is called Fresh Faith. And it starts with scripture. John chapter 20, verses 24 through 29. Now Thomas, also known as Didymus, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." Hence the saying, Doubting Thomas, if you wanted to know where that came from. As we go on, a week later, his disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. Though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it in my side. Stop doubting and believe." Then Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God." Then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." And here's the insight that goes along with that. Though God may seem silent or even out of sight, he is never absent. Hebrews 13:5. He is sovereignly working out things for our good. Nothing is ever wasted in the hands of our God. See Romans 8:28. In 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13, the Apostle Paul assures us that God will most certainly work things out for us. The trials in your life are no different from what others experience, and God is faithful. He will not allow the trials to be more than you can stand. God will show you a way out so that you can endure. When going through the difficulties of life, let us see in faith. Going through the difficulties of life, let us see in faith him who is invisible, because he who promised is faithful. For further reflection, read 1 Corinthians 1:9, 1 Thessalonians 5:24, 2 Thessalonians 3:3, and 2 Timothy 2, verse 13. Allow the faithful God to embrace you and give you fresh faith. And that's from SimKayTee, SimKayTee. I hope someday to meet this person. I sense that it's a female, but I don't know that for sure. But every time I read something from this person, it speaks to me very, very deeply. One last part of this is the devotion that goes with it, and it again is called Fresh Faith. When our son was struggling with heroin addiction, if you had told me God would one day use our experience to encourage our families who face these kinds of battles, I would have had trouble believing it. God has a way of bringing good out of difficult circumstances that isn't always easy to see when you're going through them. The Apostle Thomas also didn't expect God to bring good out of the greatest challenge of his faith, Jesus' crucifixion. Thomas wasn't with the other disciples when Jesus came to them after the resurrection, and in his deep grief, he insisted, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were, I will not believe." John 20:25. But later, when Jesus appeared to the disciples together, out of the dust of Thomas's doubts, God's Spirit would inspire a striking statement of faith. When Thomas exclaimed, "My Lord and my God," he was grasping the truth that Jesus was actually God in the flesh, standing right in front of him. It was a bold confession of faith that would encourage and inspire believers in every century that followed. Our God is able to inspire fresh faith in our hearts, even in moments when we least expect it. We can always look forward to his faithfulness. Nothing is too hard for him. That is from Mr. James Banks. And here's the prayer that goes along with that. And I'm so excited because I've got my trusty helper, Laura Paget. She's got this. I mean, she just took the wheel and said, "I'll drive," and I love it. It's work because I wouldn't have been able to get that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Here's the prayer that goes with this. Thank you, Lord, that your love is stronger than our greatest difficulties, even our worst doubts or fears. Amen. God can change our doubts into bold statements of faith.
That's true. Yeah.
Laura, it's such a treat to have you in studio with me. I wanted to have you read your story.
Okay.
So it's a treat.
I want to tell you that I'm writing a new book now. It's called Jesus in Shorts, and it's short stories. I'm a short story writer more than I think a novelist, but I'm very blessed as a dancer to be involved with several different dance troupes around the Mile High area. And one is Virtuosity Dance up in Golden, and Miss Amanda Hill often calls me up and says, "Hey, we're having a community art gathering. Would you bring a piece that you've choreographed, something original, and bring it on in, and let me put it up there with a bunch of other people." And so I did that with her one year, and it actually was last year. And the dance I chose was To the Sound of Silence, not the Simon and Garfunkel one, but the one by Disturbed, because of the dramatic musical work within it that lent itself to dance. And I danced this as a mime because I'll tell you within the story why I chose to do that. But it was a culture last year, I felt, in the election. I hope Uncle Henry won't fire me for this, but I just have seen it not only in the election year, but what's happening. We're becoming bullies, friends. We're just bullying each other. And I want you to understand one thing, and that is, whether you are bullied or whether you are the bully, the silencing of one voice is a nail in the coffin of the collective. It'll get us. At any rate, this is called Masked, and I want to read it to you. I performed the dance in a mime costume, complete with a white, expressionless mask covering my face. Audience members were dependent upon my movements to tell the story. The music had words, but I was portraying someone who felt safer expressing those words only behind a mask. At the conclusion of the piece, I hurried backstage, removed the mask, ran my fingers through my hair, and said, "Ah, now that's better. It's tough working behind a mask." Other troupe members nodded in agreement. There are various factors that make mask wearing difficult, on or off stage. Peripheral vision is diminished, and one can only see what is right in front of them. Obstructed vision limits perception of personal space, and that limitation can impair balance and may require the wearer to proceed with great caution in order to avoid injuries. The amount of energy needed to compensate for these conditions is high, and using energy in this way can quickly lead to exhaustion. However, despite all the drawbacks, masks sometimes can provide something that many, like our little mime, crave, and that's safety. In the months since that performance, I've become aware of how many times I voluntarily subject myself to the tiresome endeavor of being in disguise. It is true enough that often I do not present my authentic self for fear of rejection or disapproval. Possibly this is due to lessons I learned as a child, or memories ingrained as I have occasionally danced with life's disagreeable experiences over the past 6 decades. It can be hard to recognize when I'm restricting my vision, compromising my balance, and making my journey a tedious march through obstacles perceived or real. I sometimes don't identify the energy expense that I am incurring while negotiating the injury-free trail that may or may not afford me that safety. Many days it's just plain easier to don the mask, be what others expect, and move as cautiously as possible through life. Those are the days when it is painfully evident I've strayed from God and His will for my life has become less clear and less important. These times have become less frequent as I grow older because I realize the closer I walk with the Lord, the more I find deep peace in the healing truth that He accepts me just as I am, flaws and all. I've learned that any mask I might attempt to wear is invisible to Him anyway. This assurance sustains me when I'm unable to extricate myself from situations where I feel I must be silent in order to be safe on this human stage. Personally, I prefer never to feel restricted or unbalanced. I don't consciously volunteer for the high cost of serious energy depletion. When I do find myself in these situations, however, I can rely on the sweet fellowship with the one who always welcomes me with acceptance and love beyond any pretense. This, I think, is part of the peace that He promises, that will pass all human understanding. I look forward to and am grateful for the times when I sit down with my Heavenly Father, sigh in relief, remove the masks, and say, "Whew, ah, now that's better."
Love it. I love it. It's amazing. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. That'll be my upcoming book, which we hope will be out next year, called Jesus in Shorts: Lessons I Learn on and Off the Stage.
And it's a beautiful collection, and things had to come about in the way that they did.
Yes.
They had to come about. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I've often thought to myself, well, I've been in situations where I've been around people, and sometimes, I love going to the big festivals and playing and reaching new people and hearing people, and then inevitably somebody comes up and says, well, where have you guys been? I mean, I listen to this music all the time, and I haven't heard of you before.
Wow.
And I just go, oh, I hate that when that happens, you know. And yet, at the same time, I accept that everything, the way things have been in our career with what's happened with my alcoholism, with things that I've had to walk through, it's all moving together, as the Apostle Paul says, for good. Somehow, just like the story of Joseph.
Yes.
The story of Joseph, that he saw that you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. And that's amazing. So this whole collection, this time of your life,
Yeah.
this getting back as people are encouraging you, saying, it's time, Laura.
It's time now. Yeah, but I was out of writing for a while, and we did talk about that. One of the reasons is, unfortunately, I would go to different meetings and I would hear people speak, and they always said, well, you can't do this, you need to do that, you take away this, and I lost my voice, and I set my pen down, and I'm grateful that I picked it back up. And one of the other stories in this book is called One Foot and Then the Other. It's about my time in the operating room in the transplant center at University of Colorado in the 70s. And it's about, I was an operating room technician, first assistant, and I was young, 25, 26. And this particular story is about being in the donor room, 6-year-old boy.
Wow.
And in those days, we didn't have live donors. They pretty much, they almost always were deceased. And what happened in that time, and a friend of mine, again, Patricia Raybon, said, you've got to write that story, girl. And I said, no, I can't. You know, it's like cops or first responders. You don't always talk about these things.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful I wrote that, because a friend of mine, when I told her about it, said, you know, I would really like for you to send this to some people who are in a donor organization, so folks can know what really does happen in the donor room, the respect, the reverence for what our work was as we harvested organs. So these two are probably my favorite. Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to that, and I'm so looking forward to reading the book of the gentleman that you're going to be working with in putting, you know, with
Yes.
the release of this book.
Yes.
And that is an important part of the process of sharing a gift that God's given you, and is getting the right people in the place.
Yes.
At the right time.
Yes.
People that have had their own journeys.
Yeah.
And now it feels like everything's in place. So it's going to be very special.
And you have agreed to do an endorsement on the back, right?
Absolutely.
I'm just holding him to it. But
Yeah.
the book you mentioned is by a man named Alan Arnold. I want to give a shout out to that, because it's called The Story of With, and it's creating with God. With God.
Oh.
What a huge you know, folks, get that book. It's called The Story of With. It's beautifully written. Mr. Arnold was in the publication field for years and years. His story's in there, but he's a friend of mine. In fact, he and I are together on the 4th of November. We will be at the Overwhelmed Conference. He will be speaking. There will be 5 speakers. Mr. Arnold is one of them. And I will be dancing to Give Me Jesus.
Oh, man. Fantastic. Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, I'm excited about that, and excited about, and there again, we're talking about substance. We're talking about content. We're talking about real. Okay, this is real. This is not because somebody said, well, millions of people have jumped on. What God does with this will be, and I've said a prayer lately with the ministry that I'm putting together with Mike and Rosanna, with the new CD, with many things, endeavors, is God, fulfill your purpose, nothing more, nothing less. And maybe that is the kind of thing that then you give it to Him to let Him do with it, and then its purpose is perfect.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you before we're going to get into one more music segment, and then we'll have probably time to do one more quick radio segment. I hope before we end off tonight. I'm trying to figure this out. I was going to end it off so I could walk Laura out to her car and get her safely on the road. But then I realized, remember that we're doing this masterclass, and part of that is we've got to wrap it up, get things downloaded onto her jump drive, and we got to show that process as well. So that's cool. But so we may end up just a few minutes early tonight, just in order to get that all taken care of. But I have to ask you this question, and I'm going to go ahead and give me another 2 minutes. I sound like an auctioneer. Give me another 2 minutes there, Laura.
Give me 2. Give me 5. 5. Do here 5. Give me 2. Okay, and I know how to do this.
You
right?
can do it.
And now we got to do this. Yeah.
Yep.
Watch this,
Right there.
folks.
Nope.
Woo!
Right there. Perfect.
Man,
Yeah,
I'm
I
telling
knew
you,
it. I knew you could do it. And
I got an A in moving stuff around.
I wanted to ask you this.
Mm.
When it comes to surrendering, like peeling it off, getting down to the authentic self, there's just the nitty gritty. One of the things I think is important is forgiveness. I think forgiveness holds so many of us back from being okay with who we are and being enthused about who we are. Because many times we're not able to forgive, not because we're not willing, but because we don't know how. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. And I think, wow, my very first piece that was ever published was called Mama's Ring, which I read on your show a few
Yes.
I think about a year back or so. And it was about forgiving my alcoholic mother after her death, by restoring her wedding ring, which was one of the very few possessions that I received after she died. She didn't have anything. But one thing I learned about forgiveness, it's about my reconciliation with God. It's an obedience. And I know sometimes people don't like that word obedience, but it is a surrender. And he says, everything I do is for your good. When I call you to forgive, it is for your good. There are people that I've hurt that may never forgive me for some of the things I've done. I've offered the amends, and I have one person in particular that has not spoken to me. She's a family member for many years, and said, no, I will never forgive you. And I asked the forgiveness anyway, because I knew it was a release for me. My spiritual growth depended upon that. So that's one way I look at it.
I think it's one of the great healers, and we could spend an entire show on that idea in and of itself. The idea of forgiving the person so that you can surrender and feel whole. It's an amazing part of becoming okay with yourself, becoming what you need to be. A person of mine I love in my recovery group says, my biggest fear is the fear of being ordinary. And you know what? Ordinary to God means precious. We'll be right back. This is Lost and Found, Unconscious Conversations. That's who I am. Lost, but now found.
Amen.
Through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And we are free. We're free from radio. We are just rolling along. It is, oh my goodness, we got to wrap this up.
You do. This is for you.
Oh,
you may have that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to carry it with me. Thank you so much.
This has been great.
We're going to do, I see, well, we got to plan this out, Laura.
Let's plan it out.
Okay.
This is us
it's
planning.
11:49. It takes 6 minutes to sign off, and this song is 4 minutes. So we've got to get
moving.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a quick sign off after this.
Okay.
So, and then we're gonna go ahead and say goodnight.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm all for it.
Because it's gonna take us probably about I should have told you this. It's going to take us about maybe 10, 15 minutes to get
It's fine.
things downloaded.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And I'm all happy with it. I'm a happy unit.
Well, you know, one of the things we got to make sure we got to try to get you that one of the biggest, the greatest things I have is being able to come in early and be relaxed and set up a show. Though, you know, when you're in the middle of the day and you got show after show after show, and you got to set something up quickly, but you'll know how to do that. And now you get your hands on, you can get an idea of how it works.
Yeah.
You can think about it and think logically, and then think, this is what I'll do here, and this is what I'll do here, and it really.
That's right. And I've seen the way you've done some of your files and stuff, and I really like that. And you know, Henry, as I said, has walked me through it. He knows that I just have to repeat.
Mhm.
And so this was great. It
Yeah.
really helped me. You do things a little bit differently than I had seen him do them, but options are always good too.
Yeah, and it's
And
just.
it's just that it turns out to be the same. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. So
Well, I hope I hope it's been somewhat beneficial, and then
very
you know, we can do it
beneficial.
again.
Sure.
And because I think we're a good team.
I think we're a good team.
Well, so with that said, I'm going to have you grab me and Jesse Lee from over here and put it over here.
Let's see, I gotta see it right in here.
You can grab.
Oh, it's gonna have to go down a wee bit.
Yeah. Oh, go up. There you go.
Yeah, my eyes are not
I'll
happy
find it.
tonight.
Keep going. There it is.
There it is.
Okay.
We're gonna put this here.
There. Put it there. Okay. And then what we're going to do. Oh, but before we do that, we're going to do a quick 2 minute.
2 minutes.
I'm sorry.
No, I need to do this and then I'll figure it out. Yeah.
Perfect. So we're gonna go straight into a good night on the radio, and it'll be hello, Darlene Hernandez.
Hello, Darlene.
Forgiveness will never be easy.
Boy,
However, only through forgiveness can healing begin. Amen.
thank
So
you.
well said.
You're right, my friend. And that's right. And that's a great point. The other thing I wanted to say is, would it be okay in our good night if I did give a shout out for the Overwhelm Conference and how they can find that? It would take me 2 seconds.
Oh, you do it.
It's on my website.
And if it takes longer, I'll add another 2 minutes.
It won't. I can speak very quickly.
Thank you for tuning in, Darlene.
Yeah,
and
that's
Roseanne
great.
and Michael and Sandra.
Everybody.
It's been a special night. And then, so what we're going to do, and then after that, I'm going to, let's go ahead and pick another song.
Okay.
What we want to do, we want to make sure it's a Dot Zero song.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you why.
I know.
So
I'm trying to figure.
there's a good one, Rubicon will work.
Oh, I like Rubicon. And it goes here.
Okay, it goes there. And then we're going to pick one more Dot Zero song just for the heck of it. And I'll tell you why we're doing that.
Oh man, is this gonna work?
Oh yeah.
Boy, that's a hoot, that one.
Okay.
I love that one.
So the reason we're doing that is that we'll have Dot Zero music on afterward. If we ever have a time where it's hello and God bless. Well, God bless you too. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Maybe I need to get some Superman glasses
I
to where I don't
know,
have to.
right? And he's asking me, "Can you see?" I'm like, "No." Am I supposed to be able to see?
We're going live, Laura. And that is Lost and Found by Dot Zero. You know, Lost and Found, tales of a modern day prodigal. That's who I am. But I'm at the other side where Jesus is running towards me with his arms wide open.
Amen.
Laura, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What a special night.
Thank you. I really have had a great time. And I've learned a lot too. And so Uncle Henry won't have to pull his hair out anymore on Fridays when I'm here. And he's been good to me. But every little bit of help I can get, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me read some of my writing and talk about some of my work as well.
Well, it's just been an unbelievably wonderful night from from start to finish. You have a conference that you wanted to mention.
Yes, so I'm very excited. Here in the Denver area is a conference called Overwhelmed. It is for women, but there'll be some men there speaking and so forth. Alan Arnold will be there, and several of my friends will be there speaking. And what we're talking about is overwhelmed with God's great love. And we're trying to push away some of the images that keep us competitive with one another and keep us thinking that we aren't. We just want to know that we are. And in order to do that, we have to choose Jesus. I'll be dancing to that. It is the 4th of November. Tickets are available, and a link to those tickets is on my website at lauralpaget.com. And that's Laura, L-A-U-R-A-L, Paget, P-A-D-G-E-T-T.com. And you can also see who my upcoming guests are, see what publications I have, and how you can get those.
What a wonderful event. I need to be at that event as well. I got to see if I'm playing, but I would love to attend. Thank you, Laura. It's been more than a special night. I love you with all my heart.
I love you.
And we'll do it again soon. And good luck in all that you do.
Thank
God's
you.
blessings.
Thank you. And also with you.
Thank you. Well, it's been another incredible night on Conscious Conversations. I can't begin to tell you how much it means to me to have my special friend Laura Paget in studio with me. We just had a great time. We've multitasked to the max tonight. Matter of fact, I'm a little multitasked out, but it's been all joy and pleasure, and in the presence of our Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ with the Holy Spirit, one God Almighty, forever and ever. So thank you, Laura, for being my special guest this evening. We'll do it again sometime soon. Next week on Conscious Conversations, I've got a special treat for you. A person whose name you'll see on Facebook this week, who has begun a new recovery high school called 5280 in the Mile High City. What an incredible concept, and we're going to hear all about it next week. A special shout out to my soulmate, Sandra. I love you, Sandra. I'm asking for worldwide prayer, for healing for those who are dealing with debilitating health issues, cancer, and so many other health issues that we face each and every day with our families, friends, and loved ones, including Ronnie and Rich, Stephanie, Lisa, Audrey, and so many others. Send us your prayer requests, because we will most definitely get the prayer chain going in full force. The healing presence of Jesus and all those, each and every soul battling addiction, a substance use disorder of any kind, including Adam and Gabriel and Connie and Jolie, Tim, Zach, Bruce, David, and Stephen, and James, who came back into the rooms of recovery this week, hurting and feeling the consequences of his addiction and the disease that he's battling. I pray for strength to endure consequences of substance use and courage to begin sobriety fresh. Shout out to my friend Ray. He's always been an inspiration to me with what he's endured, talking about suffering and enduring the unbelievable challenges that he's faced. He's done it well, and he's done it with Jesus by his side. He'll tell you about that sometime very soon on this program. God bless you, Ray. Remember, I pray better than I play, so make sure you send us your prayer requests. Where is Dotsero next week? Well, Dotsero's going to be at Live at Jack's on both nights this coming weekend. So go to dotseroband.com to find out all of the dates coming up. We've had just an incredible October, and it's getting ready to slow down a little bit. That could be a good thing, just to take a breath. Here's our benediction for tonight. It comes from 2 Thessalonians 2:16 and 17. May our Lord Jesus Christ himself and God our Father, who loved us and by his grace gave us eternal encouragement and good hope, encourage your hearts and strengthen you in every good deed and word. Amen.
Amen.
Remember, I asked this guy Jesus to hang out with me, and now he won't leave me alone, literally. And in the words of Charles Dickens from his famous story that is in many ways my own story, a story of redemption, a story of reclamation. God bless us, everyone. For Conscious Conversations, I'm Stephen Ray Watts. Good night.
Good night.
And we're free from radio. We've said goodnight on radio. We're going to say goodnight
Good night.
on Facebook.
Good
Thank
night.
you so much.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, it's been a great night. God bless you all.
Bye-bye. Love you.
There we go.
There we go.
And only one more to
And
say
only one
goodnight.
more. And
Say
here we
goodnight
are.
on Ustream.
Good night, history. Yeah. Thank you for
Okay.
joining us. Appreciate it so much.
Good night to everybody around the world.